This is what lies ahead. Lure to La Planche des Belles Filles, 36.2 kilometers, an individual time trial. They set off from Lure and head through to Le Radon, 14.5 kilometers in when we get our first time check. A little bump there before a descent down to Planche-les-Mines at 30.3 kilometers, the second time check. All of that before the Category 1 climb up to La Planche des Belles Filles.
The one we've all been waiting for, the time trial, the individual time trial, which finishes on the famous Planche des Belles Filles. This climb is 6 kilometers in length. They've got 30 kilometers of flat time trialing before they get to this point. Look at the gradients. It's pretty straightforward. There's not too many bends on this thing, but the real challenge comes right at the end. Just as you get this flat plateau at the top, the right-hander, the last 300 meters where we hit percentages of 20%. This is really going to be a tough one. Just look at the gradients. Look how consistent it is all the way up. Let's see.
It's around a 45-second lead now before. Here's Roglic. And this is the man who's trying to take the Tour off him. Domestic battle at the top of the Tour. We're hearing that it's pretty certain that Pogachar's going to change his bike, according to Dan Lloyd, who's been talking to some of the technicians. Only one big chain ring on the front, so a little ring apparently on that TT bike. 34 seconds, it's swinging back to Roglic now, Brad.
Roglic is now on the faster section, as I said, these sort of downhill bits. I think we'll get a truer guide and a truer... Here we go. There's a bike change for Richie Porte.
It's the change for Richie Porte.
Which I thought he may do, actually, because I noticed that they've obviously... The Trek bikes are very aerodynamic. He didn't have the aero bottle holder on his time trial bike. He just had that normal bottle, so he switched bikes and took the bottle with him. But it's interesting if one of these two, obviously we've had it confirmed Pogachar will, which I thought he might because he threw his bottle. Whether Roglic does or not remains to be seen.
23 seconds at this latest check. Oh, it's getting tight. Oh, it's getting tense. And we're approaching the climb. Brad, of course, Roglic has already won a Grand Tour. Is that going to help him in any way? Is that going to be some sort of sense of calm? You talked about the mental battle.
Well, to do that, you've got to have a calm head. And, of course, this man's previous sport, there's no doubt he's got one of them. But Pogachar, the youthfulness about him, you know, he's a winner. There's no doubt about it. And that's what he's gone out to do, to try and do today. Obviously, he will lose a little bit of time on the bike change now. The main indicator is when we hit this climb. I think that's going to be whether Pogachar can maintain this pace. I think Primoz is going to now, when he hits the climb, he'll ride to a power. You know, that very scientific approach, whereas Pogachar's more of a racer. And I think this is what it's going to be interesting. It really is.
It's certainly what we wanted to see. I think wherever you're watching around the world now, there's that sensation, there's that moment when if you're watching in a room with other fans, you might just start to look around at each other and raise the eyebrow a bit. Believe that something might be about to happen. Look out for Pogachar up the road here because he's about to start the climb. The Slovenian fans are all over. They don't care who wins. One of them is going to take the first Tour de France for Slovenia. Richie Porte looks as though he's going to take another podium for Australia. Look at this. He's putting 37 seconds into Miguel Angel Lopez here. Landa keeping his 5th place for the moment. And Porte begins his climb just under 5 kilometers to go. Brian Smith, he's nearly there.
Yeah, he is nearly there, and you can only think back to the gravel section a couple of days ago when he had that puncture. That could have been, you know, end off, but unfortunately he did get back. He did get back with the
eyes
help
on this. Sorry, Brian. Brian, eyes on this. Bike change coming up. Bike change coming up for Pogachar. It has to be quick. There can be no errors here. Remember, a 5-second push maximum. It is fairly quick. He's on his bike. He's going. Brad, how did you rate that?
Mechanic was a bit slow. You know, I think he could have been hanging out the car a bit easier, but if you notice, he's got a bottle on. Straight away, he's had a drink and thrown the bottle. So he's going to be fully committed now. It can be very difficult changing bikes. You know, that feel, your saddle feel are just a little bit lower, but that's the choice he's made. He's obviously very comfortable with doing that, and this is a big test for him now. He's got 20-odd minutes of 20-odd minutes to win the Tour de France.
So it is now for Pogacar, now to bring it all. He's certainly done his job over the first part of this time trial. He's taken over 30 seconds back from Roglic at points. And this is how it looks going for the stage win. Dumoulin around a second faster than Pogacar at that point at the bottom, but remember that, Fanart look how he rode that. He was 51 seconds down Dumoulin on the bottom of that climb, and that image and that sort of that perception that Bradley had, Ryan, of him going strongly, of him going well, was obviously a correct one, because he really has been the fastest up that climb. We're all looking for Carapaz, Van Aert, the king of the mountains there today.
Yeah, 16:52 he went up there, which is 28 seconds faster than Danny Martinez.
Wow. Here is Carapaz. Well, he's going to be down on the time, but what is going to be his climbing time? Carapaz to come down, and he's giving it his all, you can see. And we have a look now to see what time he's going to produce on the climb. We're looking at 250 metres to the line now. We saw Cavagna set the best time and hold on for it for quite a while. We saw Van Aert absolutely blow him out the water, but it's another Jumbo-Visma killer wasp who's coming up to the top. It's a domestic rivalry. It's Van Aert, the Belgian champion, looking on the left. Dumoulin on the right-hand side, the former Giro winner, who's trying to get across the line and take the stage win. But the seconds are ticking down. It's getting tense. It's getting tight. Here comes Tom Dumoulin, going to the line, giving absolutely everything. And Tom Dumoulin across the line to set the fastest time.
Superb, wasn't it? That's the return of Tom Dumoulin. Could it be the stage win? We'll see.
We shall see indeed, because this man might have something to say about that as well. And look at that, he's 15 seconds ahead of Dumoulin at this point. Roglic, in the meantime, 37 seconds down on Dumoulin at this point. And this is where Jumbo-Visma might start to worry a little, and this is the change.
Bike change, here we go.
Ooh, it's quite slow.
Quite slow, no bottle on the bike, you notice.
Taking a while to clip in as well. Oh dear, oh dear. That was slow. A few seconds gone here or there. Guys, am I getting ahead of myself here, or am I starting to worry that this might start to unravel for Roglic now?
Now don't forget, there's the psychological element that Pogachar's going to be getting time checks that he's, what, 35, 36 seconds up on Primož Roglic. Roglic is going to be getting the time checks that he's now down. And then little ruffling like that, little bad bike change, and it just weighs on your mind. He's got to take a few seconds now to calm down and settle in. Then there's an element of panic, and it just builds. So he's got to keep his cool at this stage. And it's 20 seconds, you can see there now.
I said a few minutes ago that people may be starting to believe. Pogachar will certainly being told to be believed now, Brian, won't he?
Oh, he has to. He'll be getting rolled on. But I still think Roglic, that change, although it was a little bit slow, you could see him just, he wasn't overly panicking. He just took a, you know...
Well, look at him out the saddle here now, Brian.
Yeah.
It's very rare he gets out the saddle, is it?
No, he does a big cadence, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm thinking back to that change as well. The rule was a 5-second push. Was that not pushing in a little as well?
Yeah, but I mean, this is. There's talked about his greatest asset is his cadence. Look at him out the saddle here. Quite lengthy time out the saddle, and it's 15 seconds almost now. I mean,
wow.
he might clearly that he's not got the legs today. He just doesn't look as comfortable as he did earlier on, and particularly with that bike change.
Well, we were saying that we were going to have a changing of the guard. Jumbo-Visma maybe stopping the Ineos Grenadiers' dominance. What about UAE Emirates? They've ridden a race without two of their top climbers for Pogachar here. And he is suddenly 12 seconds away.
Wow.
12 seconds. This is happening. This is on the road. Primož Roglic is blowing a gasket. And today Pogachar might just be 3 kilometers away from winning the Tour de France. What a performance. And what a disaster. Both at the same time. Slovenia's going to win it, but who's taking it, Brian?
Yeah, well, we don't know. And it's a lot closer than anticipated.
7.
But look at Pogachar. Pogachar is looking strong. In fact, you know, when you look at some of the mountaintop finishes, he's looking super strong in this climb. Like you said, he went out fast. He doesn't look to be slowing down. If anything, like Bradley says, and I agree, Roglic looks rattled.
Yeah, well, yes, well, talking about the radio now and the time checks from behind the car, they're going to be telling the truth. You know, you're now 55 seconds down on Pogachar. You know, that lends, it's almost equal, look.
gents. Look at that time. There we go. Primož Roglic is losing the Tour de France.
Now,
Primož Roglic is losing the Tour de France right here, right now, and he's still got 4 kilometers to get over the line.
He looks ruffled. I mean, to see him get out the saddle continuously like that, I don't know, it just doesn't look right. This is brilliant. This is like 89 Fignon Le Monde all over again.
We have not seen this for decades. We knew it was going to be a close tour. We knew it was going to be open, but Primož Roglic, although he is fighting, is out the saddle.
Yeah, look at his body language.
Wiggins says he's not right.
Look at the body language of him. I mean, it looks like he's completely blown.
We'll take a deep breath, everybody. What you are witnessing could well be one of the biggest moments in recent cycling history. We knew that Slovenia was going to make history today. What most people did not believe was that it was going to be a 21-year-old Tadej Pogachar. 11 seconds now, and Roglic is seriously going out the back. There's been an absolute disaster here from Jumbo-Visma. And I can't quite believe what I'm seeing. We are witnessing one of the sporting moments of the century, without doubt. Primož Roglic almost nailed on to take it home in his preferred discipline of the time trial in the Tour de France. A Slovenian party. 2 days ago, Roglic looked the strongest by a long way, but the Tour de France is 21 stages, and here on the 20th, there is something that is quite obviously not right. Roglic, looking a shadow of himself on the left, is losing a lot of time. He is hemorrhaging time against young Pogachar, the man from Slovenia, who we thought was going to be the man for tours to come. It might just turn out in this very strange 2020 that Roglic is going to lose it. It's going to be Pogachar to win, and this man, Richie Porte, is going to move on to the podium. And it is now a big margin into double digits. Bradley Wiggins, Brian Smith, I am absolutely flabbergasted at this.
He's definitely taking the white jersey, could possibly, and it looks like he'll be taking the polka dot jersey, the yellow jersey, and another stage one. Absolutely incredible.
Just the casualness about him is sometimes what we love. It reminds me of a young Jan Ulrich, and this is just, and it also, Jumbo-Visma have ridden the whole 3 weeks, this big solid unit, great team. Pogachar's basically done it on his own.
Tadej Pogacar celebrates his 22nd birthday on Monday. On Monday morning, as it stands, he'll be waking up in Paris in the yellow jersey. A dream come true after a race of our dreams as supporters. On the left-hand side, Primož Roglic had a 57-second gap at the start of today. Remember, this is what he's good at. Time trialing is where we first saw him. The Giro d'Italia 2016 burst onto our screens as a winner of that time trial. Here in 2020, we thought the journey was complete. We thought he'd become that conservative rider, the man who had kept enough energy. However, it is not enough against 21-year-old Pogachar, who outside of his national championships has never won a time trial in professional cycling. Today, though, it looks as though he's going to do that, and it is going to be the most memorable day of his life. Richie Porte, take a bow. There's your photograph on the mantelpiece. It's a podium finish at the Tour de France for Richie Porte. But here we go.
This is just that short respite, Rob, we was talking about earlier. You get a little bit of respite for the right-hander and the 300 metres. Look, 1 minute and 13. I mean, this is...
it's not even going to be a stage win for Jumbo-Visma.
This is history in the making. This is history.
This is 2020. This is the Tour de France being lost and being won on the left and right. Pogacar turned up to the Vuelta for a debut last year in a Grand Tour. He won 3 stages and finished on the podium. He made a real name for himself as one of the big stars of the future. But only 12 months on, he's a star of a present. And look at the horror on the faces of Dumoulin and Van Aert. They cannot believe what they're seeing. Neither can we. And Tadej Pogacar is 250 metres away from turning the tables and winning the Tour de France in the most dramatic fashion since 1989. Pogacar to take the waving flags. All of Van Aert's man of the match and Superman work has been for nothing. Tom Dumoulin's even going to have the stage win snatched away.
Yeah, look at the clock.
He's here in the white jersey. Tadej Pogachar started the day with a little bit of hope. He had better believe it now. Tadej Pogachar, only 21 years of age. By the time he turns 22 on Monday, he will be wearing the yellow jersey as a winner of the Tour de France. Pogachar across the line. He takes the stage, he takes white, he's the king of the mountains, and he is the winner of the 2020 Tour de France. Because barring incident or accident, Tadej Pogachar will take the yellow jersey on the Champs-Élysées tomorrow. And we have seen one of the performances in the history of this great sport. Slovenia's going to have its champion. But we did not expect this. And Brad, there's going to be an inquest. Something has happened to Roglic here today.
You know, when you look back in 1989, Le Mans did come with the, the special aero bars and, a wee bit more modern technology. I think this is probably one of the best days in cycling we've seen from an absolute superstar.
We'll be talking about it. I mean, it's 2020. We're still talking about 1989. 1 kilometre to go for Primož Roglic, and it must not be a very nice place to be on top of that bicycle right now.
I think we have started to see this guy could go on to be the greatest cyclist of all time and better the likes of Merckx, etc. There might not need an inquest. In 10-15 years' time, we will realise why that happened that day, and I think this is the start of something very special for this man.
But we have seen some weaknesses, very small weaknesses in Pogačar in this race. But today, to do this to Primož Roglic, he has had the perfect day.
The youngest ever winner of the Tour de France was Henri Cornet, a 19-year-old from France. The second youngest winner was over 22. Tadej Pogachar is going to make so much history. We've already said he's taken 3 jerseys, but for a moment, stand up and appreciate the man who has led this race for a long time. He's still going to be a Slovenian hero, but he is not going to finish this race the way he wanted. I mean, it has been the story of the century so far in cycling this.
It looks like he already knows, doesn't he, Rob?
Yeah, he's look at his face. He knows, he definitely knows.
Even the helmet's not on correctly. Roglic comes to the line, heartbroken, wondering, bereft of answers. It has been an ultimate collapse, humiliation in the Tour de France for Primož Roglic. You feel for him wherever you watch, but Jumbo-Visma will remember after this that the Tour de France is 21 stages long. You can crack at any time, and Primož Roglic has cracked on stage 20. Pogačar has pulled off quite the comeback. Pogačar has turned the tables. History's been made. Never ever forget where you were on Saturday the 19th of September 2020. He'll remember it forever, as will we all. It was the day that Primož Roglic lost the Tour de France on La Planche des Belles Filles. Slovenia has its winner. It's not the man you're expecting. Pogačar has humiliated Roglic. That is that. And he will exchange white for yellow. Ryan Smith, Brad Wiggins, everybody watching wherever you've been, that has been absolutely incredible. And Brian, wow.